question is, how close is Seattle really to a Super Bowl? It's one we're having now that Aaron Rodgers is out of the way in the NFC. Now, who knows what the Packers would have actually looked like? It was the Lions, in fact, that had been favored to win the NFC North, but there's certainly one contender with a bigger question mark. So what does it mean for the Seahawks if they want to be a contender? I asked you guys what you think. You've been texting in 866-979-3776. Bump, here's where we're going to start. From the 541, the Seahawks aren't quite capable of being a real NFC championship contender, probably top 3 or 4 team in the NFC, on par with the Vikings or Cowboys. But there's a pretty wide gap between those teams and the Eagles and 49ers. Let's start there. The idea that the Seahawks can be a contender, but are right now stuck in a wild card spot with a big gap between the Eagles and the 49ers as the top 2 teams.
Yeah, I think that's true. The 49ers and the Eagles, that's it. They are the standard of the NFC, that's for sure. And mainly because they're both balanced teams, right? You look at the 49ers, they had a quarterback who exceeded expectations. You have a tight end who's one of the best in the game and a couple really good receivers. Brandon Ayuk came back and had a great season. Defensively, pick a position, they got a guy at that spot. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They could run the football with the quarterback and the running back. Miles Sanders needs to be replaced. Rashad Penny is there. We're expecting them to get Robinson out of Texas. If that happens, look out because it's going to be tough. You got AJ on the outside. You got Devontae on the outside. All right, those teams are it in the conference, the most balanced teams out there. But after that, I truly believe that it is wide open, and people are going to lean on the defense, right? The Hawks' defense wasn't very good. I'm with you. I understand that, all right? After the San Francisco 49ers, we're talking about the top-rated defense in the league last year. Number 1, as far as yards, San Francisco. Then you got Philly, and then you go Washington. All right, after that, you got the New York Jets, you got New Orleans Saints, you got Buffalo, you got Denver, you got New England, you got Tampa. Do they have some making up to do? Most definitely. They average allowing 361 yards per game. The top of the top, the San Francisco 49ers allowed 300. Why do we think they gave up so many yards? You have 2 of the best safeties in the game. One was hurt for the majority of the season. Ryan Neal came in, and according to PFF, he was the best safety in the game. Okay, don't tear me up for that. That's just PFF, all right? All right, so you got 2 really good safeties. You have a Pro Bowl corner on one side, and then you have your blue-collar Mike Jackson, who I love, on the other side. All right, you look at that second level. Jordan Brooks, was he a Pro Bowler this year? I don't think he was.
I don't think so.
Pro Bowl type linebacker with Jordan Brooks, kind of held down by Cody Barton, and that defensive line just wasn't producing the way that you want to. You're just a couple moves away, in my opinion, from helping the secondary out, helping these linebackers out. You listen to KJ Wright talk, he goes, look, we need those big boys down on that defensive line to keep us clean, to hold things up. You ain't had nobody who can do that last year. You're in a 3-4 defense. The personnel isn't mixing right. You got Puna Ford there. He's no longer with us. You bring over Jay Reed. Of course, we're basing our expectations off of projections of how these guys are going to play. I'm just looking at the moves they're making, and I'm saying, okay, address there, address there, address there. Now you need a big boy in the middle to get it done, and you're in the mix because offensively, I think that they're good and they can hang with anybody.
Well, offensively, they were one of the better teams last year. Geno Smith, the only NFC quarterback to throw for 30 or more touchdowns. That does not mean, obviously, that the Seahawks were the best offense in the NFC. You can look at Philadelphia. You can look at San Francisco with yards after catch, especially. For that matter, the Minnesota Vikings, obviously. They were kind of a weird team where, like, yeah, they were kind of a fake team, but with very real production from most especially Justin Jefferson. But if you look at the rest of the NFC and say, okay, regardless of whether or not you have a top offense or not, the following are teams last year in the conference that were below 500. Chicago Bears, are they going to be a playoff team?
Based on, I got to see what they do this draft.
I'm going to say no.
You still got, let me look at them real quick. You got
Okay.
Justin Fields, you got DJ Moore, you got Mooney over there, Chase Claypool, Devontae. Nah, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team.
Arizona Cardinals.
Definitely not.
Rams.
I don't think so.
Falcons.
No. Desmond Ridder over there, he's not ready yet. No.
Saints.
Yes.
Panthers.
No. Rookie quarterback, they got a lot of things to figure out.
Packers.
This is an interesting one. No.
Commanders at 500.
They're in the toughest division in the conference. I think Dallas is going to be better. I think New York is going to be better. They got a better tight end over there. They signed their running back. Philly's going to run that. Washington, I don't think they're going to do it.
Lions.
Lions, I think they're in.
So those were the pool of teams that did not make the playoffs last year. We picked certainly one team. You picked two teams from that pool to potentially be in. Here are the teams that made the playoffs in order from best to worst. Eagles, great.
Yep.
49ers, great.
Yep.
You're watching them. Vikings.
They made it last year. They lost in the first round to who?
Made it last year and were 13-4. They lost to the Giants, I want to say.
Lost to the Giants.
I think.
I think they because of the division, them and Detroit are going to be battling that thing out. I say they're in.
I forget who they lost to. I think it was the Giants.
It was the Giants.
The Buccaneers won the dreaded
Bucks.
NFC South.
Nah, I don't think they're in.
Not in a good way.
Nope.
Dreadful, I should say. Cowboys. They were a wild card.
They were a wild card. Dak Prescott.
Are they the second best team in the NFC East?
Yeah, they are. I think they are.
Giants. Are they the third best team in the NFC East? They were the
NFC East is so tough, man. I think Daniel Jones lets everybody down in New York this year.
Oh, I like that. And then, of course, the Seahawks is the final wild card team.
In there, swimwear.
So we're looking at a group where among the teams that didn't make the playoffs, you're picking maybe two to make them again. And among the teams that did, you're picking maybe two to not make it. You know what I mean? That there is a little bit of shifting, but that the teams you know are bad are probably going to stay bad.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at the teams you're competing with, it remains Philadelphia and the 49ers. And with the 49ers, who knows if Brock Purdy is the answer or not. Philadelphia is just absolutely stacked as an entire roster, offensively, defensively. Yes, they're the team you're chasing. I think that let's move this conversation from can the Seahawks get to a Super Bowl, where we know there's a path in the NFC, to can they win a Super Bowl? That's what we all care about, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go get dusted by whoever's in the AFC. You don't want to be like, we made it out of the trash conference, and then all of a sudden you're losing by 4 touchdowns. No. You want to win a Super Bowl. So how close are they to winning a Super Bowl? What do they need? What are they missing?
I don't think they're really close.
Okay.
Going off of right now, who they are right now, I don't think they're really close. I think they're closer to just winning a playoff game. I mean, last year you didn't do that. When you look at the roster of the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, you look at just personnel alone, you have to give them the nod. After that, it's pretty even, right? We both think that the Detroit Lions and the Seahawks are kind of the same team. I think the Seahawks are capable of beating the Vikings. I think the Vikings are capable of beating Detroit. And I really think the New Orleans Saints are going to surprise some people with Derek Carr over there and that personnel. It's just a toss-up. I think once you get out of Philadelphia and San Francisco, it's about, okay, what quarterback is playing at a high level, who is healthy, and which defense has gotten better. With San Fran, they're out that, right? But what defense has gotten better? And that's why you look at this draft and offseason acquisitions. It's so hard to tell after those top two teams who's going to be what. But I think that the Seahawks, if all goes well, if things go right, if Jamal is healthy, if Geno repeats the performance, if Ken Walker balls out, if you go get a defensive lineman, you're putting yourself in the mix seeds 3, 4, and 5.